Hey guys, thanks for tuning in today. I'm going to be giving a review of the Hellcat Redeye Widebody. I bought this car about 6 months ago, and I figured I was going to go ahead and give a half a year review on a couple things on the car, so you guys can get a chance to see yourself firsthand everything that this car has to offer. And after it's been somewhat broken into, you guys also be able to get a good general idea of everything so you can see for yourselves. So first things first is I got the Hellcat Redeye wide body granite color. It's a 2019, and I was sold on the color. It took a couple days for me to get this one. I had to come from a different state. They were going to try to sell me different colors at the dealership, but I just really thought the granite looked the best. So as we get in here, you'll first notice you got the carbon fiber and a couple spots here, which is just right here and then right here. They could have thrown a little bit more in, I feel like, but you know what, when they're more focused on the power of the car, I don't think it's too much of an issue. So when I start this thing up, it's going to be in eco mode, and it's going to be a not so cold start, but you guys can get a hear of what it sounds like just in eco mode, which is only about 500 horsepower. So that's what it sounds like on eco mode. Okay, so that's eco mode. I'll show you guys here. So yeah, eco mode with the red key, which I obviously always keep on me. And you can also adjust the settings. You can go into sport mode if you'd like, which sport I tend to go to on general occasions, but if I'm going to try to race somebody who I feel like is going to be a good battle, I'll throw it in a track mode, because that's where I get the best of everything. And here we have our race options. So the launch control, I actually have not touched launch control yet. I've tried to mess with it like a time or two, but I didn't really like the idea of just peeling out, and I don't know, I just didn't. I want to save the tires as much as I could, so for that reason I don't really mess with that all too much. Shift light, I haven't really messed with the shift light either, because I've only used the paddle shifters, I don't know, just a few times. It's only when I'm in track mode I just want to use a paddle shifter. So race cooldown, I have used this. This is a nice little feature. It gets hot out here. I'm in Vegas, so it's like, even right now we're at 109, but this is a nice little feature just to make sure the engine cools off real quick. So I've done that, you know, a couple times, which is a good thing, especially if you're actually going to use it on the drag strip on race day and whatnot else. So line lock, I'm sure you can already guess, I have not used line lock. If I haven't used launch control, then line lock is a given. I'm not going to use, but that would be a fun feature to play with. I feel like I'm going to probably go ahead and do that before I shred my tires up, just right before I'm going to get new ones. So I have those race options, which is fun to mess with. And then, I mean, you have the valet mode, which I want to say majority of the Challengers or the Chargers do have that as well. And then here I can change the settings of everything if I would like to. So I could go ahead and do so by clicking that and then clicking custom setup, and then look, I can go ahead and switch the power to 797. I could do the transmission to track, sport, or streets. So the transmission, I pretty much almost always leave it in street if I have it on custom. The paddles, obviously those are going to be on. The traction, you could set, I mean, I always just leave mine on street for the custom as well. Suspension, Track Sporter Street. And then the steering, you know, same thing. I just, for the most part, if I'm using the custom, I'll just leave it all in the street. I'm not gonna get into like messing with those until I get to like, I don't know, like sport per se. Then like most of those get adjusted. I mean, look, like I just kind of let them do their own thing. And then if I want to go over to track mode as well, now that's by far my favorites, because everything in the car is much louder. Like check this out, like you guys can hear this one. So the track mode is the loudest for sure. Sport mode has a little bit more of a loudness than eco, but it's not as loud as the track. And then I just leave it on eco. So that's on the inside. And then you also have this other feature here, which is going to be, let me find this one here. Performance pages, there we go. So performance pages are, this part's pretty cool too. So you have all kinds of gadgets and widgets here. So it'll tell you, you know, like what your power, you can have your G-force, your, you know, what gear you're in, which I'm not really onto the home screen entirely too much. The timers is usually where I focus most of my time on. So like it'll tell you current, like your 0 to 60, how quickly you hit that, you know, your 0 to 100, your, just all these different things that I have, like my last, my best, and then you can save them, which I haven't saved anything. And then you have all the gauges, which is pretty cool. It gives you a bit of everything. You can just take a look at all kinds of different things here. Your G-force, this one's kind of nice whenever you start driving it, the engine, and then dyno. Kind of nice to know this thing's got like a built-in dyno do it or whatever. But yeah, overall, the only thing I would say I would wish was a little different perhaps would be that this thing doesn't consume as much fuel as it does, because this thing is a gas guzzler. But it's kind of one of those things that comes with the car, you kind of expect it. But aside from that, I mean, this thing is very reliable. This thing is my everyday driver for work. I've already put 6,000 miles on it in just 6 months. So you can tell this is like the only car I ever drive. Another nice little feature that this car has, I have the Harman Kardon speakers, the audio, and then also has the sub in the back as well, which is kind of cool. I didn't realize that until I went down there just to check everything all out. But the dealership didn't even really tell me that. But yeah, it has its own built-in sub, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, this car is, in my opinion, just well worth the money. I love how it doesn't really have much of a competition. The GT500 is probably the closest thing, runner-up. I haven't really been inside one of those yet, so I couldn't really say how those are, or I haven't driven one. But this thing drives like a beast, I'll tell you what. And it's fun to get around town in and always be ready in case somebody wants to race. It's always fun. So thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you guys like the review.